So Aries, for your horoscope this month, we are going to be running through each planet and the house that it's in, and what that means, and then how they aspect each other and what that means. So first, we're going to start out with each house that the planets are in Aries's birth chart. So the sun is in the 6th house for Aries, and what that means is that you are currently majorly focused on your health and routine. That means that you're going to be creating systems and things at this time of the year. You always are going to feel like that during Leo season and into Virgo season. So you are going to be developing these processes that are going to be necessary for the rest of the year. If you can create a routine now, then you'll be able to use that routine for the rest of the year. The moon is in your 12th house. This is going to show you what it's gonna mean if you do not effectively create a good routine. The emotions that you feel with the moon in Pisces, oppositioning your sun in the 6th house, is going to like shock your ego. You basically are going to feel like, oh, I didn't accomplish what I needed to accomplish. I haven't done what I need to do. And you're going to feel this pressure that's going to loom because of this full moon in the 12th. The full moon in the 12th house is entirely about the spiritual pressure, this underlying guilt you may feel, things like that. Um, you'll then have Venus in your 7th house. So that's the sun in the 6th, the moon in the 12th, opposing your sun. That's what a full moon means. It's just an opposition there on the opposite sides of each other. Then you have Venus in your 7th house in Libra. What that means is that you have a heavy focus on relationships right now, in the relationships that you get into. It means that you feel like you want to find a relationship right now. Love is in the air. You feel this just like general, just like, oh, I'm swooning. I need a partner. Like you're going to feel like that right now. There is some conflicts that occur, and I'll explain that later when I talk about the effects it has with other planets. You have a Mars in the 10th house in Capricorn. You have a looming authority over you right now. You may feel like there's a safety problem you're dealing with or a security issue you're dealing with, but you need to feel in control right now. You're going to feel this need for Capricorn control, and it squares your sun. And all that means is that you're going to deal with this discipline that you're not comfortable with. You're in Aries. You need to shine your fire. And with this discipline that's looming over you, you may feel like you do not have the control that you need. You also have Saturn in the 10th house in Capricorn, meaning Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is giving you this huge amount of discipline that's hanging over you. You may be continuously escaping discipline. You may be fighting back hard against authority, basically. You have Jupiter in the 8th house in Scorpio, and that means that you have this like massive transformation emotionally that you're going under. And it means that you are getting rebirthed right now. And in that rebirth process, you feel this just deep emotional change that's happening. Scorpio is one of the most mysterious of signs, and when Jupiter is there, it's basically an expand the mystery, expand whatever it is that you think the most deeply about. For some, it would be sex. For some, it would be money. For some, it would be power. But it comes down to the root of like sin and deep, like what is right and what is wrong, and you're gonna feel like you're expanding in your understanding of what that means to you, what sex means to you, what power means to you, those things. And so that might be like the kind of rhetoric that's going on in your head all the time right now, this like talk on like what's right, what's wrong, how I feel, blah blah blah. And it's these like hard feelings, not just feelings, but it'll be those hard feelings that are hard to address. And that's just going to be haunting your mind right now. And then you have Mercury in the 5th house in Leo. What that means is that you're going to be dealing with the ability to speak loud. Right now, like Leo trines Aries, so you're just like vocal. You feel like you need to speak about your frustrations and stuff. And so that is the houses for each of those signs. Now we're going to go into how each of the planets affects each other. And I will start again with the sun. The sun is oppositioning the moon in the 12th house. You'll deal with this big pull that you feel like, is my routine good enough? And the 12th house is going to tell you like whether or not you created what you need to create. When the new moon happened, 15 days prior to the 28th, when the new moon happened, basically you were supposed to create a routine. You're supposed to figure it out. You're supposed to figure out like, okay, this is what I need to do to fix my life. This is what I need to do to get my life together. And if you don't do it, then by the full moon, you'll be punished for not doing it. You have this, and it's not just like punished. It's just the full moon in Pisces is a very strong emotional moon, full moon, and so if you do not fix it, it'll be a struggle. The Sun trines Saturn in Capricorn in your 10th. You may have a good relationship with your boss right now, but be careful because it may be like illusionary, right? Like the Sun is currently in Virgo. So if you have a good routine and a good work pattern, a good work ethic, then yes, your boss in the 10th house in Capricorn is going to be like, oh yes, very good. But when the Sun goes into your 7th house, you may be seen as manipulative. You may be seen as trying to find a relationship, trying to relate differently than normal. It's gonna, you could come off with a facade. Libra is all about the way you look to people and the kind of friends that you make. And so be careful in coming months to not see this trine, this benefit that you get from your boss right now is a always. It's not a definite. It could change. You could be improving your relationship right now, though. Your boss may be trusting you more, and you may increase that trust also. It's something that you have to invest in, though, and you have to be able to invest in that routine. For your Mercury, that is in the 5th house in Leo, it's going to sextile Venus in your 7th. So you might be having some luck talking to some special people right now. You might be able to maybe find a partner. You might be able to talk to people better, and they might respect the way you talk. Based off of the loudness of your voice, the ability you have to speak about the relationships you want to get into, you're going to be more successful. It's a sextile, so it's positive. But it squares your Jupiter in Scorpio in the 8th. What this means, this is your Mercury squares your Jupiter in the 8th house in Scorpio. What this means is that your voice is too loud for people emotionally, right? Like everybody's like dealing with this Scorpio in the 12th. 1 second. Everybody's dealing with this Scorpio 8th house right now. And if you aren't on the same emotional plane as everybody else, if you're too aggressive in your speech, if you're too proud of what you have to say, you're going to throw people off. People don't care right now about self, or they don't want to care about self. They want to care about what is right and wrong. And so you may deal with some communication conflicts with others if you talk too much about your personal ego right now. And that will be more beneficial when Mercury gets into Virgo, because you'll be able to speak about more practical things, and there'll be like interesting things to speak about. And those interesting things to speak about, fashion, design, Virgo things, this will be like all about routine and stuff like that. You'll be able to talk about those things, and once again, look good to your boss. It'll be something that trines that Saturn in the 10th house. Then we have your moon, which oppositions your sun once again, meaning you will be it's a full moon in your 12th house. This is a culmination of deep emotional change. You are coming to the ending of whatever cycle you had started, the routine that you need to fix. You will be shocked about. It sextiles Mars, that is in your 10th house in Capricorn. What that means is that the emotions you're facing now are something that helps you to understand the kind of authority you have to be in your own life, the kind of rules that you have to make for yourself. Basically, if you deal with some kind of shock right now, that shock will help you in the future. It'll make it so that you can understand what's going on with your rules for yourself, basically. Like, you're going to be punished or you'll deal with some kind of emotion that'll show you why you want to improve your routine and why you want to improve your work ethic and why you want to be a better person. It becomes that Capricorn, like it teaches you what the authority you want to be for yourself, how you want to define your personal authority. The moon also trines Jupiter in Scorpio, which means that this full moon is like a death for you. It's this ending. It's going to feel like significant emotion. Like Jupiter is just going to expand all of that emotion. It's going to make it like wah, and make it really big and really loud. So you might be dealing with some like tough tears. You could be dealing with some aggression. You could be dealing with all kinds of emotions that flood through your body. The moon also squares Saturn in your 10th. So what that means is that your authority figures could see your emotion as a negative thing. So meaning the 12th house is about secrets, it's about safety, and it's about this deep emotion that you want to hold to yourself. Maybe keep it away from authority figures. Don't let your anger explode into your 10th house, meaning don't make everything you're feeling public, because it could cause you to deal with more conflicts than you would expect. So you have a Venus square Mars right now. We all have Venus square Mars. Venus in your 7th house squaring at 10th house. You may not feel like you're like you want a relationship. Like the 7th house Venus means that like you're ready for that like love to enter your life, but it's squaring your 10th house Mars means that like it may conflict with the higher authority you got to deal with. It means that you might be dealing with like parents, you could be dealing with like your boss, you could be dealing with just authority that is making it so you're not very happy dealing with other people. Like the 7th house doesn't necessarily automatically represent like relationships either. It represents your relationship to the other. It represents anybody else other than you. And you may feel like you can't relate to people right now very well. Even though Venus is there and you want to relate, you want so bad to relate to other people, but the authority behind you, how you hold yourself, the conviction you hold yourself in right now, the kind of rules that you feel like you have to abide by, makes it so that it's really hard to have a relationship. You may feel confined, you may feel boxed in right now. Mars sextiles your Jupiter, or Mars sextiles Jupiter, and that means that Mars in your 10th house is going to be affecting Scorpio 8th house, and that means that that authority is going to feel like this death, basically, like the pressure you're dealing on with in that 10th house is this big pressure that is transforming you. This is a big transformative month for you. You may be grieving during this full moon. Take the emotions that take you now and ride them, because they're going to take you some crazy places. They'll transform you. This full moon is super significant to your 8th house, and you will become a new person if you do it right. Hope this helps. Have a good day.